Yeah. Breaking news! Utah Jazz and Cleveland Cavaliers have completed a trade for Donovan Mitchell going to Cleveland for Colin Sexton, Lauri Markkanen, and 3 unprotected firsts and 2 swaps. Finally, some big news going on. Donovan Mitchell is headed to Cleveland, folks. The team we didn't even expect. We all thought the Knicks, especially in the last couple of days. Knicks just keep losing. They can't win. They can't win, that's for sure. Donovan Mitchell is going to Cleveland. Gave up a little bit. Sexton didn't want to be there, but now, man, Cleveland's on the rise to be a top 5 team. And we're just going to keep it to this on today's show. Welcome to Talking to Myself. As always, I'm talking to myself. Today, I'm not wearing a straight jacket, so I'm feeling good. I'm Special K, and we're coming at you. Big news today. Donovan Mitchell's been traded to Cleveland from Utah. Utah Jazz are in full rebuild mode, folks. You heard it here first. Utah Jazz are in full rebuild mode. We're going to break this trade down. Both teams, talk a little bit about it. We'll go from there. Man, surprised me. I think everybody in the basketball world has heard the news in the last couple of days, just all the rumors going on. But it's picked up. Obviously. We're hearing a lot more about Donovan Mitchell being moved around. RJ Barrett signed that extension over in New York, so we thought something was in peace over there. We heard the Lakers being a third team in a possible blockbuster trade, sending Russ Westbrook out. We heard a lot, and it's picked up quite a bit in the last couple of days. But I tell you what, I was at work when I heard the news. My buddy came over, and he showed me his phone, and I about fell to the ground, man. Look, Cleveland, Cleveland. Y'all watch out for Cleveland. Cleveland taking over, man. It's funny because if I'm not mistaken, we could look back at the calendar. I haven't looked back today, but I feel like we're about close to a year ago. Cleveland made a surprise trade for Lauri Markkanen. We all knew Chicago was trying to deal Lauri Markkanen, but now he's going to Cleveland, and it gave obviously a big team as big men are involved, but it gave Cleveland another possible all-star player. And now for Cleveland to do this a year later, and it's more than that. I mean, it's more than that. I love to give my opinion, but I don't love to just throw things out there that might be a little too far-fetched, that we don't know. We can't predict, man. And that's how life is sometimes. But I think Donovan Mitchell can be a little bit past an all-star in this league. I'm not saying the word because I just don't know, man. We don't know. He's had flashes of that. So, we'll see what happens. But I just think even if he's not that, even if he's just an all-star, because, as worse, I think Donovan Mitchell could be an all-star. As worse, in my opinion. And for Cleveland to make this move to give up a guy who wasn't sure he wanted to be with Cleveland, the big contract, Cleveland didn't want to pay him. And then you get rid of Lauri Markkanen, which, let's be honest, he's a good basketball player, but he's just he's crowding the room. He's crowding the room. You got Evan Mobley, who had a rookie of the year candidate for sure. Had a good rookie year. And then you got Jared Allen, who's going to be one, top 2 centers in the league here in a couple of years. So it's just he was definitely crowding the room, and he had to go. He was the weakest link. And don't get me wrong, no weak links in that power forward center as young talent goes. So to see him jump over there, especially go to Utah place, he can definitely be a big part of that rebuilding mode, or at least shows what he got, so he can move on with his career, whatnot. So I think it was definitely a huge win for Cleveland because it wasn't a big loss. If you're talking about not just talent, of course, it was a big loss in talent. Colin Sexton's a very valuable point guard and shooting guard, and Lauri Markkanen the same at 3 and 4. So, uh, but we're already stacked at those. Sorry, man, I'm getting carried away. Ain't no bandwagon. Just man, excited for Cleveland today. Definitely excited for Cleveland. I'm saying we, but man, Cleveland to bring Donovan Mitchell in, and there was already crowded positions, and just to give up some of that talent. Yes, it's hard, but it's not a huge loss when you still got talent on the team, and these guys are so young, man. It's going to be, I saw the post, scary hours, man. Yeah, it's going to be scary to see what can happen for sure. But we don't know. And there's so many moves to make. I mean, there's so much in the works with this one move that was made today. The different possibility scenarios can happen. I'm sure there was a lot of thought in the Cleveland front office and Utah too. But Cleveland, man, the way Cleveland can play this out in the next couple of years is just completely insane. And what can happen in Cleveland, Ohio, it could be crazy, man. And before I get ahead of myself with that comment, though, let's jump to a little breakdown, man. I'm going to break down. Let's start with Utah. I don't want to get too excited on Cleveland right now because Utah's got a lot to be excited about, too. Because let's not count Utah out. I was just breaking down the roster a little bit. They're not an awful team. They're not a bad team. They're in the middle for sure. So I'm going to break down each position and the guys, especially with Utah, because there's a lot of guys over there that are new. Break down the main guys. I'm going to start with the one, just make my way down. The first guy, obviously, Mike Conley. Like I said, we don't know if he's going to stay. Now that Donovan's gone, I don't see it happen. I don't see him there at the beginning of the year, but we're closing in, so we don't know what's going to happen. We'll see. I don't know. I just see Russ and Conley keep getting pictured in my head. I don't think Russ is going anywhere, but we'll see what happens. Conley's still valuable veteran in this league, so definitely worth something. We'll see what happens. But he's got, you got Conley, you got Sexton, you can play the one. Nikhil Alexander Walker I think he came up with New Orleans Pelicans. He's not a bad point guard, he's young still, so get some valuable minutes in there. He definitely show what he's made of, prove his worth for sure. But mainly, I mean, you got, if Conley does start the year off, even if he doesn't, you got Sexton at the one, quality starter, and then you got a backup in Alexander Walker. And then at the two, Clarkson and Beasley, you can start one, have the other coming off the bench. Clarkson can always play two positions, a point and the two. Malik, you can move him to the three, good 3-and-D guy. So, you're rebuilding, but they got quality guys right now. So, and Leandro Balmero, young guy, can shoot the ball. So, not bad if he gets quality minutes. You can continue to grow in this league, grow with that team, see what happens. He might be a possible part of this rebuild. Now, 3 and 4 are quite interesting, actually, because, man, before I actually broke the roster down, I was thinking about the Jazz, and I'm like, man, these are young guys. Like, they might be completely, like, from playoff picture to just last place, but I don't even think they're in the last place team. I think they could be in the play in, that 7-8 seed. Past the play-in. So they got Horton Tucker from the Lakers and part of that Patrick Beverly trade we talked about last week. Again, I mentioned that he could be a possible guy that I wouldn't say you could build around, but he could be a possible great role player in that organization for years to come. So I think it was a good move. I like to see him at 3. You don't even have to start him yet. You still got Bogdanovich, and we're not sure, trade could possibly happen for him. Clarkson, too. All these guys are on the market right now. Don't get me wrong. Conley, Clarkson, Beasley, I'm sure, is still on the market if they could trade him. Bogdanovich, I mean, there's still scenarios that could happen. The season's not started yet, so you never know. But if you start the year with Bogdanovich and Horton at the 3, you're doing good. You're doing decent, And you got Markkanen out of that trade today, coming with Jared Vanderbilt out of the trade in Minnesota, man. It's just part of that Rudy Gobert. Jared Vanderbilt's a young guy. Lauri Markkanen is a young guy. I mean, you could possibly keep those guys as part of your rebuild. So I'm excited to see what these guys can do for this team. And I don't think Utah's far away after today. I mean, yeah, 5 years, but I think a good number of these guys they're going to build the future with might be on this roster as of today. I like Walker Kessler at the 5. I think Markkanen is a 50-50 at this point. He might be able to be part of this rebuild or might not. Might help a team that's already winning, like an Andrew Wiggins type guy. We just don't know. Vanderbilt, same way. I think he's young. I like Rudy Gay still being over there, and he can help these young guys and show them what goes on in the league. So excited to see that. Horton Tucker, the same. Very obviously, Colin Sexton is probably going to be a part of this rebuild. I think they could definitely nail this in the next 5 years with all the draft picks they have and everybody they have right now. So I think Utah's being smart. I think they're being a lot smarter than people are seeing right now. It's just very, if you don't sit and break it down, especially if you don't, watch basketball very often, you're going to think, I'll be honest, I already said it. I thought last place right away, but this team is close. I'm going to be surprised in the next 3 years. That third year, we see them as a 7th or 8th seed. So Utah, I'm not saying Utah's a loser. I don't think there's no loser in this trade today. And I think Utah's a big winner in this offseason for the future to come. And Cleveland won big, obviously, because I stopped myself earlier, man, but I think that they could be the next big dynasty after Golden State starts dwindling down as they get older and older. And they're still years apart. Don't get me wrong. I believe the Golden State Warriors will win at least 3 of the 4 more championships. Very excited to sit and wait for that as well. But I believe Cleveland is that next dynasty with what they got going on right now. Now, don't get me wrong. There's a lot of teams pointed in that direction. I broke that down last week in 3 tiers for you guys. Please tune in to the last episode if you haven't watched, and I'll break down the tiers of future dynasties. But yeah, Cleveland, man. I had Cleveland, I believe. I actually got it here on my notes. I had Cleveland in that second tier. But I believe I had them as a 2A, 2B. I definitely have to put them in the clear 2 right now because I still think they're going to be in the playoffs next year for sure. But I think they're still at least 2 years away. I think that second year, they can make it to the conference finals, but I think that's going to be an if. But that after that, there's a lot that could happen in Cleveland now after this trade. It's just it's crazy. It's still hitting me, and I don't think everybody's quite realized it yet what can happen. So excited to see what's going on. I'm going to break down this Cleveland roster real quick, man, and just try not to laugh. I don't know if Cleveland I don't know if Cleveland must love LeBron because, man, they trying to put together something special for when he becomes a free agent because, man, they trying to bring LeBron home, try to win one back real quick. I'm going to break down this roster, and I'll get to that point here in a second, man. But at the 1, they got Darius Garland. I'm going to give you starting 5 for Cleveland right now. This is coming off me right now. Just my opinion. Again, my opinion doesn't matter. I believe the Cleveland Cavaliers or any of their straight like the social media that they use have a different starting 5, but I'm going to have Darius Garland at the 1. I would probably have Donovan Mitchell play the 2, Karis LeVert at the 3. I'm going to have to put Evan Mobley Uh, and I'm gonna switch out depending on who they're playing. But Evan Mobley and Kevin Love splitting time at the 4, and obviously Jared Allen at the 5, man. And I tell you what, because all 5 of those guys I named, take Kevin Love's name out of that, man, they are all young and they can build off that start. They can keep that starting 5 for the next 15 years if they wanted to. That's what's scary, and that's what scares me. And man, if those guys can be everything we hope for and think about, it's going to be tough. It's going to be tough. And I'm excited because all these teams right now are trying to rebuild for the future, and it's all going to happen at once, man. It's just going to, I think it's going to be something like we've never seen before, and I'm really excited for it. I think Golden State's still going to be, I think Golden State is never going away. That dynasty is going to keep going, and I think see the Western Conference in years to come, and just see the possible championship finals of the Warriors versus the Cleveland Cavaliers is going to be exciting because they've already started and they're bringing back, and it's just going to be crazy. So that's my opinion. And again, my opinion doesn't matter, but I'll say it. So off the bench, obviously, I said Garland. At the 1, we're going to have Ricky Rubio, Raul Neto. Nato coming from Washington last year. Rubio's had some time in Cleveland before he had that injury and then got traded. But Rubio was going off last year, man. I believe he was bouncing back and forth between my buddy Darrell and I's fantasy teams, and he was balling, man. Just be that veteran guy off the bench for Darius and what he did for him last year and will continue to do for this year. And Darius had Rondo to learn off of the second part of the year. So I'm excited to see that again. And the 2 and the 3 is what's – man, the Cleveland Cavaliers are just scary, bro. But to see the 2 – and again, I said Mitchell at the 2 and LeVert at the 3. Isaac Okoro, you can have him at the 2 and 3 as well. Start or come off the bench, be that 6th guy. I think you're good either way. I mean, there's a lot of different ways. Just depends on who you're playing. So excited to see what they do with that roster. I think that roster could change in the next 2-3 years as well. So excited to see what is going to continue to happen with that because I think it's just fucking crazy, man. And they got Windler coming off the bench at the 2. He can shoot the ball. Good defensive guy too. So it's still got these young guys, these role players. I think everyone's going to learn how to play together this next year and 2. So I'm excited to see that. I had LeVert starting at the 3, but you still got Cedi Osman. He's been in this league with Cleveland this whole time, played with LeBron. He's a good 3-and-D guy, but he could take control of this team. Didn't go quite the direction I expected, but he's been still a good player for this organization. Stevens can come off the bench for him. He can shoot the ball. So you're pretty set. Like I said, you got Kevin Love coming in at the 4. He can also play the 5 too. And you got Mobley and Allen too, man. It's crazy, man. And now they signed Robin Lopez this offseason too. So I think this is a play around year for them now. Not that they're trying to get Donovan in the lineup and see what they can do with him. And how well Darius and him, Mobley and Allen, they all play together. Because obviously, I mean, that's what matters. LeVert too. I think LeVert's part of this future. I think it's big because that was a win. I mean, that trade was crazy that they got LeVert. Cleveland's been making quiet trades these last few years, man, and I think they're just going to quietly get themselves into a dynasty, dude. This stuff's crazy, man, for sure. But those Knicks, man, they just couldn't capitalize. They traded their pick away. They got future picks. I think they might know what they're. Let's get this right. Look, businessmen, everybody's professionals when it comes to this business, and we might not know what's going on in there, amongst them in their heads or the conversations that they're having. But they know what's going on. They have plans. They have plans for the future. They have plans after their plans. They have a backup plan. They have a backup plan to the backup plan. These guys are all professionals, top to bottom. They just all do things differently. So really can't judge. Keeps me guessing for sure, especially after today, man. Just what's going on with Utah and Cleveland in their heads. And then New York, we don't know what's going on over there. I thought after the RJ signing, I thought something was going to go on with Donovan. I believe the offer was 3 first-round picks and RJ for Donovan. You can't. I don't think RJ's that guy to build around. I like to have him. To me, he's like an Andrew Wiggins type guy. He was that guy you thought, could be that guy. I didn't think he was that guy in college. Look, that Duke team was probably the best from top to bottom, the best college basketball team on paper I've ever seen in my life. And to say RJ Barrett was, a top 3 pick or whatever, I don't believe it. He's a good basketball player, don't get me wrong, but I don't think he's a great basketball player. I don't think. And again, my opinion doesn't matter, but he's a good player. I had him on my fantasy the second half of the year, and he balled out for me. RJ, shout out. I appreciate you, but not the guy I would rebuild around. I just don't see him. Honestly, but I was wrong about – so far I was wrong about the guy from that Duke team I would build around. I didn't want Zion. I thought he was injury prone. I thought Cam Reddish was going to be the next Ray Allen or something, man. And so far, that hasn't done nothing for me. So these guys know what they're doing. I know my basketball, but obviously, you get these feelings about these guys that go out and play. You think they're going to do this and that, and end up not doing it. That's just life. It doesn't work out for everybody, so – these guys are professionals. I'm excited to see Utah and Cleveland, but New York, I'm excited to see too because it keeps me guessing stuff like this. New York not making that trade is like they got backup plans. Obviously, something's gonna happen. It's just a matter of when, and the fact that it's still taking some time. I think it's just gonna be bigger and bigger the more time that goes by. So I'm excited to see, man. And we had speak on this big news today because it's been a minute before we had any news like this. Definitely took me by surprise. Donovan Mitchell, happy for you, Cleveland Cavaliers. Happy for your organization, Utah. Best wishes in your rebuild mode. I understand. Houston Rockets fan, going pretty much in the same pocket as you right now. So I think we'll be right there with you. I think the Western Conference is going to be stacked for years, man. But Cleveland, man, especially in the East, man, some of these guys like Philly's getting old. Now what Miami's doing, they're getting kind of old, but they can still rebuild off their 2 or 3 guys, you know what I mean? And there's some teams like that. But, the Magic coming out of the East too, Charlotte coming out of the East. Man, the East is, man, these next 10 years in the NBA are going to be fun to watch, boys. Fun to watch, boys. So, had to speak on that, Donovan Mitchell. Congratulations. We'll see what happens this year. I think you guys are going at least to the second round. My prediction for the year, Cleveland, just A+++. Utah, I got to give you A+, man. A futuristic A+. As of today, for this year, and I don't think you care about this year, but it's for this year. Obviously, you get an F. Don't have my fault. That was just this lineup not being trash, bro. My bad. I'll give you a C, even C across the board. You got a mediocre team. I compare this starting lineup I named for Utah probably to like probably like a Denver type team. Yeah, probably Denver type team. They gonna got the superstar though, but like as for everybody else, you take Jokic out. A similar team to that. So nice to hear this news today. I'm sure there'll be some news to go off this chain reaction, this domino effect of the Donovan Mitchell trade. Because I swear to you, it's not over, folks. This is just the beginning. The next 48 hours are crucial because there's going to be a lot of dominoes falling now. Where's Westbrook going to go? Is he going to get traded? Things are going to happen, or they're going to be said that they're for sure not going to happen in the next 48 hours. If anything goes down, I swear I'll be right here to tell y'all. And thank you for joining. I appreciate you, as always, for listening to me talk to myself because, damn, I sure enjoy it. Next week, I won't be talking to myself, ladies and gentlemen. The first guest appearance on Talking to Myself, we're going to have my dear friend and co-worker, Darrell, on the show. Excited to have him. He is a basketball and pizza enthusiast, great father, good friend, great husband as well. So excited to have him on the show. Huge diehard Minnesota Timberwolves fan. Boston Celtics as well. Milwaukee Bucks. We'll be talking some Celtics. We'll be talking some Ray Allen, some KG, the big three, the original big three. You don't count the 98 Rockets. But we'll have some good talks. We'll have some good drinks, and we'll be chilling and talking about basketball like I always do. So excited for that. Please tune in next week as we sit here and discuss some historic basketball points and cover anything that else that's happened in the present day basketball world as well. But for now, I'm Special Gay. Thank you for tuning in. You guys have a great night. Cheers.